In my 20 years as a doctor here in America, I have seen a very common and very preventable heartbreak. I see folks in their 50s and 60s who feel like their best years are already behind them. They wake up with stiff joints, they feel drained by noon, and they tell themselves, well, I guess this is just what getting older feels like. But I am here to tell you, that is a lie. The truth is, your body was designed to last a century, but right now, you might be doing 5 things every single day that are essentially rusting your system from the inside out. It is not about buying expensive pills or fancy gadgets. It is about what you stop doing. I have seen patients reclaim 20 years of their life just by walking away from these habits. Today, I am sharing the 5 things you must eliminate if you want to reach age 100 with your health and your independence fully intact. Let's begin. Section 1. The hidden enemy in your pantry. Now, let's talk heart to heart about something that is likely sitting in your kitchen cabinet right this very moment. I am talking about ultra-processed sugars. In my 20 years of practicing medicine here in the States, I have seen a heartbreaking trend. Our American diet is simply saturated with added sugars. It is in our bread, it is in our pasta sauce, it is even in that healthy yogurt you had for breakfast. I often tell my patients to think of their bodies like a classic car. You want that engine to purr for 100 years, right? Well, processed sugar is like putting cheap, dirty fuel into a Ferrari. It doesn't just sit there. It causes a fire, a slow, invisible fire that doctors call chronic inflammation. There is a scientific process I want you to understand. It is called glycation. Now, don't let the big words scare you. It's actually quite simple to imagine. Think of sugar molecules like sticky syrup. When there is too much sugar in your blood, it starts sticking to your proteins. It's like pouring maple syrup into the gears of a fine watch. It gums everything up. In your body, this process damages your collagen. It damages your vital organs. It is, quite literally, rusting your body from the inside out. I remember a patient of mine named George. George was 65 and loved his sweet tea. He told me, "Dr. Elena, it's just a little sugar. What's the harm?" I looked at him and said, "George, that little bit of sugar every single day is telling your cells to age faster. It's shortening the protective caps on your DNA." The research from Harvard Health is very detailed on this. High sugar intake is linked to a much higher risk of heart issues. But here is the good news, the wonderful, hopeful news. Just by eliminating liquid sugars, things like those sodas or those fruit drinks that are mostly corn syrup, you can lower your risk of diabetes by 25%. 25%. Think about that. That is a massive head start on reaching your 100th birthday. So, how do we do this without feeling like we are suffering? It's not about being perfect. It's about being smart. First, let's talk about the soda swap. If you love that bubbly sensation, please try sparkling water. Throw in a slice of fresh lemon, maybe a bit of mint from the garden. It gives you that crisp, refreshing hit without the insulin spike. Second, we need to become label detectives. Next time you're at the grocery store, I want you to flip the jar around. Don't look at the bright pictures on the front. Look at the ingredients. Manufacturers are clever. They hide sugar under names like maltose, dextrose, or the big one, high fructose corn syrup. If you see those in the first 3 ingredients, put them back on the shelf. Your heart will thank you later. Lastly, I want you to embrace the 80-20 rule. I am a doctor, but I am also a neighbor. I know that a life without a slice of birthday cake or a holiday cookie isn't much of a life at all. So, keep the treats for the special moments, once or twice a week, not every single afternoon with your coffee. When you stabilize your blood sugar, you are protecting your mitochondria. These are the tiny powerhouses inside your cells. When they stay healthy, you feel energetic, you feel sharp, you feel young. Eliminating these sugars is the single most important cleanup job you can do for your internal chemistry. It's like clearing the weeds so the garden can finally bloom. And once we have our internal chemistry moving in the right direction, we have to make sure our physical bodies are moving too. Because cleaning the engine is only half the battle. We have to actually drive the car. Section 2. The silent trap of the big sit. You know, in the medical world, we have a saying that might surprise you. We often say that sitting is the new smoking. Think about that for a second. It sounds a bit extreme, doesn't it? But when we look at the way we live today, it makes perfect sense. Our bodies were built for movement. Our ancestors were always on the go, gathering, walking, and working with their hands. But today, the average adult in America spends 9, 10, sometimes even 11 hours a day just sitting. We sit in the car while we're stuck in traffic. We sit at a desk for work, and then we come home and sit in our favorite recliner to watch the evening news. I see this all the time in my clinic. I remember a patient of mine named Martha. She is 72 years young and as sharp as a tack. She told me, "Dr. Elena, I eat my greens and I don't touch the sugar, but I just feel so heavy and tired all the time." When we looked at her daily routine, we found the culprit. Martha was spending nearly 6 hours a day in her chair, knitting and watching her favorite shows. I told her, "Martha, your body is in a state of metabolic slumber. You see, when we stay still for too long, our bodies essentially go to sleep while we're still awake. The enzymes that are supposed to burn fat and regulate our blood pressure, they just stop working effectively. It's like a factory where the workers have all gone on an unscheduled break. The research is quite sobering. A major study in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that every single hour we spend sitting still is linked to a higher risk of losing those precious golden years. But something fascinating happens when you move. Have you ever heard of telomeres? Think of them like the little plastic tips at the end of your shoelaces. They protect your DNA. As we get older, those tips naturally get shorter. But scientists have found that regular movement, just simple, honest movement, keeps those tips from shortening too fast. In other words, moving your body keeps your cells young. By eliminating what I call the big sit, you can improve your circulation and reduce your risk of heart issues by nearly 30%. That is a huge number. And the best part is, you don't need to join a gym or run a marathon to get there. I want to give you 3 simple ways to reclaim your vitality. First, let's try the 30-minute rule. It's very simple. Set a little kitchen timer, or maybe use the clock on your stove. Every 30 minutes, I want you to stand up. Just stand up and stretch for 2 minutes. Reach for the ceiling, wiggle your toes, shake out your arms. This tiny habit tells your metabolism to wake up and get back to work. Second, let's look at how we use our phones. Most of us stay glued to the sofa when we are talking to our friends or our grandkids. Next time the phone rings, I want you to stand up. Walk around the kitchen table. Pace back and forth in the hallway. If the weather is nice, take the call out on the porch and walk a few steps. You'll be surprised how many steps you can get in just by chatting about your day. Lastly, we need to rethink our active leisure. We all love a good story on television. But instead of sitting through 3 episodes of a show, why not try a commercial break stretch? Or better yet, trade just 1 hour of TV time for a gentle walk around the block. Wave to your neighbors. Breathe in the fresh air. Movement is the secret sauce that keeps the heart young. It keeps the blood flowing and the spirit high. But as we get our bodies moving, we also have to be careful about what we are breathing in. Because while movement builds the heart up, certain environmental toxins can tear it right back down. Let's talk about how to protect your lungs and your blood vessels in our next step. Section 3. Reclaiming your breath and your future. I want to take a moment and look back. I remember years ago, back in the 60s and 70s, it seemed like everyone was carrying a pack in their pocket. It was just a part of the culture. It was what we did at the diner, at the office, and even on airplanes. But today, we know so much more than we did then. In my years of practice, I have seen many things that can shorten a person's journey. But if I had to name the single biggest thief of a long and healthy life, it would have to be inhaled nicotine, whether it comes from a traditional cigarette or these new, modern vaping devices. The result is the same. It is a direct attack on your longevity. Think about your arteries for a moment. They should be soft. They should be flexible, like a brand new garden hose that bends easily in your hands. But nicotine? Nicotine makes those arteries stiff. It makes them brittle. Over time, that hose doesn't want to bend anymore. It creates pressure in the system that your heart was never meant to handle. And it doesn't stop at the heart. It goes all the way down to your DNA. Do you remember when we talked about those little plastic tips on the ends of your shoelaces? Those telomeres? Well, smoking is like taking a pair of scissors to those tips. It snips them away, bit by bit, day by day. This means that, biologically speaking, a smoker is often much older than the candles on their birthday cake would suggest. It shows in the skin. It shows in the way the brain stays sharp. Or doesn't. But, and this is the most important part, I want you to listen closely. The human body is a miracle of resilience. It is built to repair. It is built to heal. If you decide to set that habit aside today, your body begins to respond almost immediately. Within 10 years, the risks to your lungs and your heart can drop by half. Your body actually starts to undo the damage. It is never, ever too late to give your body that chance. I know it is hard. Believe me, I have walked this path with hundreds of patients. It is a journey, but you can do it. The first step is to become a pattern observer. I want you to ask yourself, why? Why do I reach for it? Is it because I'm feeling stressed? Is it because I'm bored while sitting on the porch? Or is it just what I do when I'm with certain friends? Once you know the why, you can find a substitute. Some of my patients find that simply keeping their mouth busy with a piece of sugar-free gum can make a world of difference. The second step is to use the tools we have today. You don't have to rely on willpower alone. That is a heavy burden to carry. Talk to your doctor about patches or lozenges. These are tools designed to help you manage the transition smoothly. Think of them as a bridge to a healthier you. Lastly, please, do not try to do this all by yourself. We are social creatures. We need each other. Research shows that if you join a support group, or even just have a quit buddy to call when things get tough, your chances of success go up by 50%. 50%. There is such power in community. When you stop putting those toxins into your system, you are finally giving your body the space it needs to breathe. You are clearing the smoke so you can see the path to 100 years clearly. And once your system is clean, we have to talk about how the body repairs itself while you sleep. Because the time you spend resting is just as important as the time you spend moving. Section 4. The secret rhythm of rest. Let's talk about something we all want more of, and that is a good night of sleep. In our busy American lives, we have become a nation that is chronically tired. We wear our busyness like a badge of honor. But as a doctor, I have to tell you, your body doesn't want a badge. It wants rest. 2 major thieves come into our homes every day and steal our sleep. One is in our coffee mugs, and the other is in our pockets. I am talking about caffeine and blue light. Now, I love a good cup of coffee just as much as the next person. There is nothing like that morning brew to get the day started, but here is the catch. Caffeine has what we call a half-life. This means that 6 hours after you finish that cup, half of that caffeine is still dancing around in your bloodstream. If you have a late afternoon latte at 4 o'clock, you still have a significant amount of that stimulant in your system at 10 o'clock at night. Your mind might feel tired, but your nervous system is still wide awake. It is like trying to park a car while the engine is still revving at high speed. And then, there are the screens. I see it so often with my patients. They tell me, "Dr. Elena, I just scroll through my phone for a few minutes before bed to relax." But that little screen is emitting something called blue light to your brain. That blue light looks exactly like the noonday sun. When your eyes see that light, your brain stops making melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone that tells your body it is time to drift off. So, by looking at your phone in bed, you are essentially telling your brain that it is the middle of the day. You are tricking yourself into staying awake. Why does this matter so much for living to 100? Well, while you are in a deep sleep, your brain has a very special nighttime cleaning crew. Scientists call it the glymphatic system. Think of it like a street sweeper that comes out only at night. It flushes out metabolic waste and proteins that can lead to memory issues as we get older. If you don't get that deep, restorative sleep, the trash stays in your brain. The National Institutes of Health has found that poor sleep is directly linked to higher blood pressure and mental decline. But we can fix this. We can fix it starting today. First, let's set a caffeine cutoff. I want you to make a deal with yourself. No more caffeine after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If you need a warm drink in the evening, try a nice herbal tea. Chamomile or a peppermint is wonderful. They soothe the system instead of jarring it. Second, we need to practice a digital sunset. 1 hour before you plan to close your eyes, turn off the electronics, turn off the smartphone, turn off the tablet, pick up a real physical book, or maybe listen to some soft music. Let your brain realize that the sun has gone down. Lastly, make your bedroom a sanctuary. It should be cool, it should be dark, and most importantly, it should be a phone-free zone. If you use your phone as an alarm clock, go out and buy a simple, old-fashioned clock. Keep the distractions away from your pillow. When you give your body the gift of deep sleep, you are giving it the time it needs to repair every single cell. You are recharging your batteries for the long journey ahead. And as we learn to rest our bodies, we must also learn how to rest our minds from the pressures of the world. Because a calm heart is a heart that lasts a lifetime. Section 5. The heart of the matter. Stress and connection. We have talked about what we eat, how we move, and how we sleep. But today, I want to talk about something that sits a bit deeper. It is something we often feel in our chests when the bills pile up, or when the news on the television gets to be too much. I am talking about chronic stress and its quiet cousin, isolation. In my research, I have spent a lot of time looking at what we call the blue zones. These are special places around the world, like a small village in Italy or a community in Loma Linda, California. In these places, people live to be 100 at a much higher rate than anywhere else. And you know what? It isn't just about the olive oil or the vegetables. The real secret to their long life is a sense of peace and a sense of belonging. You see, when we are constantly stressed, our bodies stay in a state of fight or flight. It's an old survival instinct. Our systems get flooded with a hormone called cortisol. Now, a little cortisol is okay if you're trying to avoid a fender bender on the highway. But when that cortisol stays high, day after day, year after year, it starts to wear us down. It suppresses our immune system. It makes us hold on to weight around our middle. It makes our hearts work much harder than they should. I remember a patient named Jim. Jim was a retired teacher, a wonderful man, but Jim was always on. He was worried about his grandkids. He was worried about the neighborhood. He was always rushing. He told me, Dr. Elena, I feel like a guitar string that has been pulled too tight. I'm afraid I'm going to snap. And Jim was also lonely. After his wife passed, he spent most of his time alone in that big house. I shared a very important study with him. It's a famous study from Harvard University. It is the longest study on happiness ever conducted, and what they found was truly startling. They found that being lonely, being truly isolated, is as bad for your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Think about that. Being alone is a physical burden on your heart. But we can change this. We can lower our biological age just by shifting how we relate to the world. First, I want you to practice downshifting. This is a fancy way of saying, just breathe. Every day, find 5 minutes to sit in your favorite chair. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in, hold it, and let it out slowly. This simple act sends a signal to your nervous system. It tells your brain, I am safe, I am okay. It turns off the cortisol tap. Second, we need to perform a social audit. Look at the people in your life. We all have those friends who, well, they can be a bit draining. Maybe they always have something negative to say. I want you to spend a little less time there. And a little more time with the people who make you laugh, the people who support you. Join a local club, go to a church social, or just invite a neighbor over for a cup of coffee. Connection, real connection, is medicine. Lastly, I want to permit you to do something that many of us find very hard. I want you to say no more often. We often feel a time pressure stress. We say yes to every committee, every favor, every event. But your time is precious. If an invitation feels like a burden, it is okay to say, "Thank you so much for thinking of me, but I'm going to pass this time." By protecting your schedule, you are protecting your longevity. People with strong social ties and lower stress levels have been shown to have a 50% better chance of reaching those golden years with a smile on their face by eliminating these toxic stress triggers and opening your heart to your community. You aren't just adding years to your life. You are adding life to your years. Living to 100 isn't a race. It's a slow, beautiful walk. It's about being present for the people we love, and it's about being kind to ourselves along the way. So, take a deep breath. Reach out to a friend today. And remember, you are doing a great job. Your journey is just beginning. I am Dr. Elena Vitalis, and I believe in your health and your future. Thank you for listening. Keep track of your progress, and always, always listen to your heart. So, we have reached the end of our list, but really, this is just the beginning of a brand new chapter for you. Reaching those golden years isn't about being perfect. It is about being there for the weddings, being there for the graduations, being there to see your great-grandchildren smile and grow. You have the power to change your story, starting right now. You don't have to do it all at once. Just pick one thing. Maybe you can skip that late coffee today, or maybe you take a short 5-minute walk around the yard. Those small choices, they add up. They add up to a beautiful, vibrant life. I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 habits will you work on first? Leave a comment below. Let's encourage each other in this community. And if you care about someone's health, please share this with them. I am Dr. Elena Vitalis. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take care of your heart, and I will see you in the next video. Stay well and stay hopeful.